up, Wizards? Mooner is back, and today I just wanted to bring you guys something a little fun, a little different. I wanted to do my version of a just for fun Blitz tier list. So now that Icelander and Oldhim have rode off into the sunset, into the land of living legend, I figured I would just do a quick little tier list and discussion of the Blitz meta going forward. So I do play a fair amount of Blitz. I do play a lot of Blitz actually, and my local scene has a really thriving Blitz armory scene every week, where we have just about everybody represented as far as heroes are concerned. Just about everybody shows up in one form or another, and we have quite a great scene. But I do play a lot of Blitz, online and in paper. So I'm not like the foremost authoritarian on Blitz, but I have participated in quite a few number of events. And a spoiler alert, I only play Wizard in Blitz, but I just wanted to make this list for fun and just to go over where I think the meta is going to shake out going forward with the addition of Icelander and Oldhim in the Living Legend categories now. So let's start there. Let's start with the Living Legend categories. We have Viserai, Icelander, and Oldhim, who are no longer playable in the Blitz format on anywhere other strictly than casual at the kitchen table. But as far as competitive formats are concerned, they are no longer available to play, which I think is really great. I think the meta needed to shake up, although I do worry that it could slant more towards the aggressive side of things. Well, let's just go down the line. First and foremost, let's talk about our boy Kano. Kano is my favorite Blitz hero next to Emperor. And spoiler alert, I think Kano is absolutely hands down the best deck in Blitz right now. If you can play him, and if you're familiar with the hero, I suggest it. Check out some of my videos on my Kano Blitz deck tech, and check out some of my gameplay vids of Kano if you're looking to learn how to pick this hero up and play him. But he is by far the fastest deck in the format. He can kill on turn 1 or 2 very, very consistently. And he's definitely the most explosive hero in the format. He does start at a lower life total, but that's because he has access to Stormstriders. And yeah, that card is absolutely busted in Blitz. But until they ban it again, Kano is definitely the best hero. Next, let's talk about someone who's in the kind of the A category, the 3-1 category. So I have these kind of labeled out as, S being heroes that you can consistently win an armory with or go 4-0. A, consistently go 3-0, maybe drop a game here or there. B category are heroes that consistently go 2-2 at the armory level, and C being heroes that can pick up a game here or there. They're not the best heroes. Some of them definitely fall into the meme category. Let's talk about one of those meme category heroes. So we have like the meme heroes such as like Kavdane, Data Doll. I consider those pretty much memes, and I'm even going to put KO in the meme category. He's just a bones thrower. There's way too much RNG associated with KO. Sometimes you're going to get hit with big attacks for like 12 to 15. Most of the time you're just going to roll a 1 or 2, and your attacks are going to come in for 3, and it's just pretty sad. But if you like that kind of thing, KO's kind of fun, but he can't consistently put up any results. The same thing with Data Doll and Kavdane. And also in the meme category, we're going to put, where is he? Genis, What You Need. They just don't have the card pool to the merchant class. And Data Doll starts the game with, 3 cards in hand. And she has to play the game at a deficiency, intellect penalty. Let's talk about some of the other heroes that I think fall into the A category. I'm going to put Chain up there at the top of the A category. Arguably, his worst matchup with Icelander is gone, and there isn't much stopping Chain right now except for Chain himself. Chain is just a super strong hero and put up some nice results over the skirmish season, but he's definitely one to look out for. Next, let's talk about Prism. I think Prism definitely falls down in the Blitz in the tier list. Her two best matchups, being Icelander and Oldhim, are now out of the field, and I think the meta is going to slant much more aggressively, and those aggro heroes like Chain and heroes like Dash and Kasai, they just run all over Prism. They just stomp all over her. You know, she might get some nice upgrades in Dust of Dawn. In fact, I'm sure she's going to. And right now, you know, unless you're just going full Herald and then, you know, you just get your all popped, or if you're going more towards the Aura build, you just get completely run down by the aggro decks. And I think Prism's best matchups leaving the format definitely hurt her quite a bit. She can still kind of prey on Kano, and she can still kind of prey on the other wizard in the format, but she's going to have a tough time getting to the top tables. So I'm going to put her down into the B category. Next, let's talk about Kasai. Kasai is a big, huge winner. Her two worst matchups, being Oldhim and Icelander, are gone. So Kasai is probably the most fair hero in the game. Her hero ability is absolutely busted, just giving her second swing the ability to swing for free. And then if you pump that up with like some hit and runs and blade runners and things like that, you know, just swinging for like 7 to like 9 for free is just absolutely busted. Kasai is in the hands of a good pilot. Kasai is near unbeatable. She does suffer a little bit from the wizards, and Kano can still just kind of burn her down to the ground. Let's talk about Katsu. I think Katsu is in a really good spot right now. I think Katsu is in the high end of the A tier. He got a lot of really great tools from outsiders and can just do some crazy things. Also, he has one of the most busted hero abilities in the game, just being able to tutor up a card at will. And that's pretty cracked. Katsu's a really great deck. Next, let's talk about the other warriors. I'm going to group these two together because I think they're pretty much... I think actually OG Dory is a little better. But the warriors, with Icelander and Oldhim leaving the format, they really get to step up. And it wouldn't surprise me if you start seeing some of these guys, some of these girls, I apologize, encroach up into the S tier. But for now, they're leading the charge of the A. They are just super efficient decks. If you let Dawnblade get counters on it, you know, OG Dory is just going to run you down and do it quickly. Speaking of that, I want to talk about Riptide a little bit. Riptide has a really great matchup into the Warriors and has a really great matchup into aggro. And I think Riptide, I think once people figure out how to build him, there's quite a few different ways you can approach building Riptide, but I think that Riptide, with a little bit of care and consideration, can really take advantage of this new aggressive meta. Speaking of aggressive meta, I'm going to put Dash probably down here at the bottom of S tier. Dash is just so fast, and Teclo Pounder, if you get 2 of them out, you're in trouble. If she gets 2 of them out. Dash is just really consistent. She's really fast, but she does have that problem where she can be fatigued. There are decks out there that can just straight run her out of cards before she can do enough damage to kill them. But if you don't run into that fatigue kind of strategy, Dash can just push just immense amount of damage and hyper efficiently. Next, let's talk about Rhinar. I think Rhinar is at the bottom of A tier. In fact, I might put him at the top of B tier. He does beat Prism quite consistently, but Rhinar still has that RNG factor. He can either roll super hot and just kill you on turn 1 or turn 0. I mean, I've definitely died to Rhinar turn 0. but he's just not as consistent as he needs to be to put up solid numbers. And he didn't put up the numbers that we wanted to see over the skirmish season. And you could definitely argue that he can be built a little more consistently with like the meat axe builds and things like that. So we might put him at the bottom of the 3-1 A tier. Next, I want to talk about my boy Emperor. Emperor is a sleeper deck, and mark my words, with Icelander and Oldhim leaving the format, with Ice leaving the format, his only bad matchup currently is Kano and Kasai. Emperor and maybe Dash to some extent, because Dash can be just a little bit faster, but Emperor can attack the meta on two different axes. He can use Arcane, and he can use the most hyper efficient red line attacks possible. With some tricky flame scale furnace manipulation, Emperor can just get all the resources he needs and can just he's a wizard. He has access to Storm Striders. He can still kill you on your turn. So you need to be watching out for Emperor. He does start to light the game at 15 health, but he has a massive fridge of armor to just throw in front of all the attacks you throw at him first, and then he can just burn you down with Arcane and Blaze Headlongs, and he can tutor up CNCs on demand and just he can present damage on two different axes, much like the most hyper efficient of the Rune Blades. And Emperor is definitely my sleeper pick. OG Bravo. OG Bravo is an interesting one. There is some people in my local meta who play OG Bravo, and they play a more of like a life gain kind of fatigue strategy, and they're very, very successful with OG Bravo. I think Bravo is in a kind of a unique spot right now. He's really good, and people just don't play him correctly as far as I'm concerned. And speaking of that kind of like fatigue guardian strategy, I want to talk about Yoji. Yoji starts the game at a higher health total than everybody else, and Yoji can just tank, and he has access to great guardian cards, and he has access to great armor, and Yoji can just, like I said, tank up and fatigue people. And I've seen some really great Yoji builds out there recently that have put up some really consistent results, and I'm impressed with where I've seen Yoji lately. Speaking of impressed, Arachne Solitary Confinement. I'm going to put him down here kind of in the middle of the 3-1 tier, because Arachne has an amazing hero ability, just being able to give his first stealth attack go again, and that cannot be understated how powerful that is, just being able to consistently give your attacks go again. And he has access to really great attack reactions, and he has access to codexes and things like that, and he's just really fast and very, very efficient. He does struggle into the S tier heroes quite a bit, and he does kind of struggle into the warriors, but Arachne is a really solid deck, and I wouldn't be surprised if now that Icelander and Oldhim are out of the format, we see a lot more Arachne doing a lot of crazy things. Speaking of crazy things, let's talk about just Briar. Briar can always just do unfair, crazy things. Channel Mod Heroic, Force of Nature, turn 1, turn 0, and she can just win the game. She's got to draw hot, and she's got to draw her power cards, but if she does, you're in trouble. Next, I want to talk about, let's talk about Dromai. I think Dromai is just way too fair in Blitz. She's just a solid 2-2 hero. Dromai just, if she runs it, she has some really, really good matchups, and she has some really, really bad matchups, and that's just about all there is to say about Dromai. Arachne, OG Arachne, the Huntsman, young Huntsman, he just can't, I don't know, he's almost a meme. Maybe I'll put him at the bottom of B tier or the top of C tier. He just his hero ability, you'd think that like in a format like Blitz where you only run 40 cards, that he might be able to fatigue people kind of easily, but he just kind of gets trounces on. And I have not seen Arachne put up any results. I would love to be proven wrong. I mean, he has access to some really, really crazy cards like surgical extraction and things like that. But uh, I just haven't ever seen OG Arachne do anything significant. Azuri. Azuri is a tough one. I might put her at the top of B tier. Azuri can get it done, but Azuri can also just. I don't think she can present enough. She's almost too fair for Blitz, if that makes sense. She has some good matchups, but she has some really, really bad matchups too. She's just too fair. She can't really present much more than 6 damage a turn or 7 damage a turn, and that just isn't enough damage. Of course, she can tank a little bit. All her cards block for 3, and she can drag the game out a little bit. But maybe with Drone of Brutality coming back into the format, we might see some tanky Azuri builds that can really just kind of slow down these aggro decks. And I would absolutely love to see that. I would love to see somebody bring an Azuri build that just kind of tanks and throws Drone of Brutality in there and really just slows the game down and plays at her level and her speed. That would be super awesome. And until then, I'm going to put her in B because she's just a little too fair for Blitz. Speaking of fair and unfair, I think Lexi is probably my other biggest sleeper hit of the format. I think Lexi is at the top of 3 A tier, the 3-1 tier, and I think she could possibly be even the bottom of S tier. I just don't think people are building Lexi correctly, but I've seen Lexi do some just crazy unfair things. She can just present so much damage. Voltaire is just one hell of a busted card. Codex is a busted card. Having 6 cards a turn with New Horizon is just busted. And I just don't think that Lexi is being explored as much in Blitz, and I think that that's a problem. I think that Lexi is probably broken in Blitz, and people just haven't figured it out. So she's my sleeper, other sleeper. Speaking of sleepers, I'm just gonna have to put Fi in the 2-2 category. He has to run Mask, and he doesn't have Belittle. Or no, he does have Belittle, but he has to run Mask of Momentum. And Fi can do unfair things. He definitely can, but he kind of gets. He's I would say he's probably the best of the aggro decks he's the better of the 2 ninjas for sure. So I'll put him in the 3-1 tier. I was going to put him in the 2-2 tier, but now that Oldham and Icelander are gone, Fi can still just do Fi things. Shyana's an interesting one. I think Shyana is probably smack dab in the middle of the B tier. Or, she has access. One of these days, Shyana is going to be absolutely cracked. And even with Outsiders, she got some really cool access to like Riptide specializations. And Shyana can do some really crazy, really weird, unique things that only she can do. But she still gets kind of run over by the aggro decks. And I think the aggro decks and the Warriors are just kind of taking over the format right now. Levia is a powerhouse in Blitz, but she dies to herself. But if Levia draws hot and Levia has access to some of the most efficient attacks in the game, they just come with a caveat of they could possibly kill her. But I've seen some really great Levia players do some really great things. So I'm going to put her at the top of the 2-2 tier. Maybe below. Azalea just doesn't quite have what it takes in Blitz. She's super strong in CC, but she needs to dominate massive arrows with big on hits every single turn. And if she can do that consistently, she can definitely win the game and steal some games. But if she's forced to block, she can't block at all, unless she has to block with her arrows, and that's bad. She can always just draw a handful of arrows or a handful of pumps, and then she's just presenting, kind of a weak arrow with some middling on hits. But Azalea can, if she can dominate arrows every single turn with lots of pumps and lots of crazy on hits, she can definitely get the game done. But she's just kind of solid B tier for me. And the same thing with Volta. Volta can tank. Volta can, create shitloads of seismic surges. And Volta can really take advantage of that Earthlord bounty equipment. But she's still, she does have a good aggro matchup. So maybe I'll put her in the 3-1 tier at the bottom of it, next to Yoji. And then there's Bolton. Bolton is probably at the top of the 3-1 tier. He's not quite a meme, but I don't know. There's nobody locally who plays Bolton, and that there's a good reason for that. And then we're gonna put Benji. Benji is in the 2-1 tier, maybe even lower. Benji can just, Benji starts the game at 17 health, and he has a crazy hero ability. He has pretty much unblockable damage at times, but he doesn't have a whole lot of armor, and he just kind of gets run over by the aggro decks, and he just kind of gets burnt down by the wizards. Starting at 17 health, he almost starts the game in kill range, and I just don't see Benji putting up good results. He did get a lot of really great tools from outsiders, and Benji's another hero I would like to see put up better results for sure. I think that's everyone. I think that's all the heroes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20, 22, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 30 legal heroes in Blitz right now. That is a crazy number, and that's something I actually really like to see. That's a really, it just leaves for so much exploration and innovation in Blitz, and I think Blitz is in a really, really healthy state right now. I do worry that it might get a little too aggressive, but and I do worry that Kano is just gonna kind of run wild. But while that is the case, I will be playing nothing but Kano and Emperor, so watch out, Wizards. All right, man. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of my tier list, if it's a joke, if it's not. Let me know if I'm wrong on anything. I love to be wrong. I love to argue with people. I love to interact with people. Let me know how good Azalea is. Let me know how good Benji is. Let me know your broken-ass Benji lists. Just let me know. Let me know that I'm wrong about Azuri. Let me know that she's not too fair. Just interact. Like, comment, subscribe. If it's not me, go to another Flesh and Blood content creator and let them know they're doing a good job. But until